You get up, you make it to the church, then you got to go back out and you forgot something else with a broken umbrella. But it's okay. So that's what's going on down the Mississippi River in Louisiana. I have no complaints. I want to, you know, it's up to you how you're going to react to that, what you're going to react to. Today's scripture is familiar to a lot of us. We grew up hearing this story over and over and over. I want to go back over a few things, a few scriptures, a few lines of scripture that was read. This book of Samuel was written by the prophet Samuel to the children of Israel to record Samuel's life as Israel's last judge, the reign and decline of Saul, its first king, and the choice and preparation of David, Israel's greatest king. I'm going to read 43 to 46. Make that 42 to 46. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, ruddy and fair of countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog, that thou comest me with staves or staff? The Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh to the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. And David said to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. And this day the Lord deliver thee into my hands, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistine army this day to the fowls of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Again, like it's in our bulletins, today's text is looking down when you should be looking up.
Amen.
We here heard points of the scripture before, but let's look at the Holy Scripture again, that it will come alive within us and bring us a new thought, a new insight, so we find strength and power to deal in this perilous time. I ask you this, 4 things we're going to go over. 1, the challenge. 2, the combatants. 3, the battle. And 4th, the results. Here, at this point in Scripture, we find the army of Israel and Judah on one hill, and the Philistines on another hill, and what separated them was the valley of Elah. Earlier in this chapter, a challenge was issued by the Goliath of Gath, the champions of the Philistines, to the Israelites, to send out their best man for mortal combat. And in the winter, his army will take over, and the loser's army will become their servant. The kids who watch television, the newest movies all about this new way of fighting in the old way, one man, one battle, one victory. That one victory will solve the battle for everyone. It's mortal combat. It's to the death. You will not yield. Only death will bring the victory. For 40 days, Goliath went out and ushered his challenge. In the morning, he ushered his challenge and sat down and waited all day. And then that night, he went back in, mumbling and talking trash. And again, in the Israel army, no one would take that challenge. See, Goliath was more than a normal man. It got so bad that the king said, look, if I can find somebody that would take the challenge, I'll give you 1, my daughter in marriage, 2, great wealth, 3, your father's whole family won't have to pay taxes. Make a man want to fight. But still, no one would take the challenge. It wasn't enough. David was sent by his father to check on his brothers, to bring supplies to the unit commander and make sure they were all right, and come back with a report. While he was there, as we arrived to camp that day, he mingled around, he dropped the supplies, he started hearing about this champion of Gath named Goliath. David, you remember when y'all were young, when, in the Lord, I should say, remember how you felt that nothing could, with God in your life, nothing could, you could defeat anything and anybody? You got so you started arguing with other Christians, because they wanted Christ love for you. You know what? You was all pumped up. Here's David walking through the camp saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Look, we serve a living God. And we're going to listen to this Philistine, this uncircumcised man, talk trash about our God. David was bold for Christ. It got so that he even got arguing with his brother, the older brother, who said, look, now why are you here running your mouth? You know, you're going to cause a problem. David got so, look, well, I can't speak now? Now look, I see and I hear what he's saying. But you know what, we got this. But nobody wanted to hear it. It got so that someone overheard it. And we got told Saul. So I was bringing him up here. I guess, bring him to me. Saul looked at him and said, and what are you going to do basically? He said, look, he was, I am thy servant. I am thy servant. I know I can take it. But he said, look, you're just a boy. Goliath has been bred from birth for battle. David said, look, O king, thy servant left me in charge over the sheep. There came the lion and the bear and took a lamb out of the flock. I went after him and smote him and delivered him out of the mouth. When he rose against me, I caught him by his beard, smote him and slew him. The servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall get one of them, seeing that he has defied the Lord, the same Lord that brought me victory with those two animals. But David said, moreover, the Lord delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear. He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said, David, go and let the Lord be with thee. Now let's compare the two combatants. Goliath, he was into himself. Goliath knew, let's make it plain to you, he was a big joker. He was the biggest and baddest thing on the battlefield. He was so busy looking down at David, he couldn't see that David maybe would be a threat to him. Everybody else was afraid of Goliath. He thought David was inferior because of David's appearance, his lack of weapons. He even taunted him and said, you come at me as I'm a dog with sticks? Again, he was born and bred to fight. Many theologians have broken down the size of Goliath. Some say 10 feet, some say 11 feet, but the average height is 9 feet 2 inches. He wore a bronze shield across the target across his back. He had a shield bearer. His body armor weighed over 200 pounds. He had a spear shaft. The tip of the spear weighed 25 pounds. Again, he had a 200-pound coat of mail, bronze leggings, a bronze helmet, bronze javelin, built for war in any battle. Now let's try to put Goliath into the perspective that we all can understand. According to Ricketts, believe it or not, the largest known male or person ever lived was a man named Robert Pershing Wadlow. He was 8 feet 11 inches. He weighed 485 pounds. Due to his tremendous growth, he died at 22. Let's break it down something close to the root may know. The tallest NBA player that we know of is Yao Ming, 7'6", but he only weighs 310. And Diesel, Shaq it is, he's 7'1", and he's 325 on a good day. But again, none of them is Goliath. Goliath, okay, Yao Ming 310, Shaq 325, and the closest thing to Goliath was Wadlow at 8'11", 45. But at 9 feet 2 inches tall, he had to be in the 600s. Again, his weapons were built for close combat. So do we read about any of his past victories? Or just the fact he was a champion of golf? His exploits, there's nothing listed about his past victories. You see, I wonder if this caused his downfall. His overconfidence and built his lack of confidence. You ever meet a big person? Okay, who here has been bullied? Now, Mary knows that you get bullied, and, you know, at first, when nobody around you would run. And that bully, you knew exactly where that bully was at. And that bully knew where you were at. You would start changing your pattern, you know, you would run and hide, and after a while, the word starts to spread that maybe you were a coward. Not that you were a coward, you just want to get a better plan. And who here has had that your parents found out you was running from a bullet? Or y'all had that happen to you? Well, I ran one day. And this was a tough joke. I'm telling you, this boy was bad. I was young, I think about 8 or 9, and he was about 12, 14, but he had me. My mama, one day I ran home, and the word got out, and she's on the front porch, and she said some great words. You know, you gotta be careful to say to your kid, because anything can happen. I'm running. And the crowd behind me and the kids in front of the crowd, I'm like, and she's out there, where you going, boy? Huh? What you on me? If you beat him, I'm gonna beat you. Well, I wore him out. I beat the clothes off. It was a harsh lesson, and he caught it. And the bottom line is this: you know, it's sometimes when you're in a situation, you just need somebody to believe in you. Amen. Now, I was not gonna let my mama down. Better yet, my mama's beatings. No, sir. Again, for 40 days and 40 nights, he taunted the Israelites. You know what? I don't know about y'all, but you think that when Goliath, he ran his sewer every day, that he started loosening up at night? You know, maybe he was kicking back, you know, laughing. They ain't got nothing. They can't touch me. They can't touch this. And his confidence grew and grew and grew. But I think deep down in his heart, he never really fought anybody. Some people are going through life, they're so big and looking so mean that nobody wants to mess with them anyhow. And really, on the inside, they're not but a bunch of cowards. Now, David, he was looking up at Goliath, but he wasn't focusing on Goliath, what you got. He's described as a boy, ruddy, handsome. He was a lad, a shepherd by trade, a psalmist, a musician as a hobby. And look at his weapons of war: a sling and a staff. But with his past victories, he knew what God would bring him through. Amen. Amen. You know, Saul tried to talk him out of it. You can't deal. You can't. Son, I know in your heart that you may think you can, but have you seen him? And the key thing was too, not that Saul doubted him so bad in the way that he did. Saul knew if David was going to represent the army of Israel and Judah and lost, then now they had to be the servant to the Philistines. He wanted to know that David had what it takes. And David said, yes, I do. The Lord I serve will bring me through. Now Saul got so that, you know, okay, I'm going to give you the best of my armament. The best of my armor. He put on my tunic, my coat of armor, even my brass helmet. David put it on and it just didn't feel right. He shook it off. He said, nah, I'm going to stick to what's already proven to me. A sling and 5 smooth stones. The maximum effective range of a sling is over 400 meters. And if it's in the right hand, it's a deadly instrument of death. These smooth stones were hardened and made dense by the cool water. David didn't go out to the dirt to get these stones. He went down by the river and picked out stones from the river. He may have selected the stones, but God prepared them. Goliath is too busy looking down at his trial and what he was going to do, but he let his guard down. He was talking and engaging in verbal combat when he should be engaged in mortal combat. David saw an opportunity and seized it. I'm not here to try to teach y'all how to fight. But as long as the person that's talking, they can't hit you. As long as the person running their mouth, they can't do nothing to you. You have some options. Either fight or flight. Goliath was bragging to David what he was going to do to him. He even had a nerve to badmouth David's God. Cursing. Got beside himself. David went as far as to call his what he was going to do to him and what will happen to him. I'm the Philistine.